Welcome, everybody, to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
And this is Joe Bunn.
And Joe, I feel like CNN right after one of the debates, like we have a panel of experts weighing in.
Whoa. Experts? No.
Let's go in age order. Everybody say hello to Sean Big Daddy McKee. What's up, Sean?
Good morning. Yeah, the stodgy old fart is in the building.
Yes.
And
It's just, it's nice to not be the old guy for once. Like, finally, I'm not the old guy on the podcast. And of course, the one and only Dave Lander.
What is up? Good morning. Top of the morning to you.
Digital.
Do you prefer that or Digital Dave? Which do you prefer?
I think I prefer Digital Dave. I think there's people that don't even know my government name, as we call it.
I agree.
So this is our post Grammys episode, Joe, and I think it's become a tradition, Joe, right? We usually, and I know last week you teased that we would talk about beat mixing. We're going to get to that a week or two.
Yeah.
But for this, I think you and I both forgot.
We did.
As apparently most of America did.
Based on the ratings.
We're going to talk about the ratings. They have more listeners for this recap than CBS.
Oh, Jesus.
nice.
But before we get to that, Joe, you and I a much listened to and talked about show last week where we talked about the post-punk of the early millennial. And I know, Dave, you're an expert in this music. First of all, tell us how we did.
So I will be honest. It is on my list to do. I did not get to listen to the album.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
I'm sorry, I set you up. I shouldn't have done that. Never asked. What's the lawyer thing? Never asked me.
I listen to you guys, and that specific episode, I actually heard you, I think, tease it the week before. So it is on my list to listen to, but I haven't gotten to listen to it yet.
It's okay. I appreciate your honesty.
Well, because of that, we're not going to tease your new mix, so forget it. Now, Dave says when are you releasing that? Today?
So it actually released. I had it scheduled. It actually dropped at 9 a.m. So it should be live on my Mixcloud right now. Let me
so you're
just
basically counter-programming against this show. That's silly. But so if you're listening to this in the podcast version, it will have already been released. So go to where? Mixcloud, Dave?
Yeah. Mixcloud.com/DJ Digital Dave, or if you just have the app, just search DJ Digital Dave. But I just put out an emo and pop punk mixtape. So it's all the kind of mid to early 2000s era, Paramore, Newfound Glory, Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, Taking Sunday type of stuff. So Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. Definitely. It's something. I mean, I know you guys talked about it, and I know, Mike, you put out kind of an aughts rock mix last year, so it's definitely something that's kind of big right now. The age range, I think sometimes as DJs we talk about music comes out and it's popular, and then it needs to kind of marinate for a minute to take a break, and then it's like ripe to come back again. And I feel like the pop punk emo is definitely stuff that's coming back, and especially with weddings and corporate events, like the 20 to 30-year-old crowd is super into that now, because that was the music of their kind of middle school and high school era.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Taking Back Sunday. One of the songs we didn't talk about, and it's so funny because I got a request for it this past weekend and played it, and it went over without the E. Do you consider that to be
You broke up a little.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. What was the song?
How much did you miss? Cute without the E. Yeah. Do you consider that in that genre? Is that in that wheelhouse?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was actually on my mixtape.
It's okay. Good.
Yeah, that's on there. Definitely. I mean, My Chemical Romance is another band that has a lot of stuff from that era. Jimmy Eat World. I think, Mike, I think you actually mentioned on Facebook a couple weeks ago, I think you were talking about
Maria Count Me In.
The middle, Maria Count Me In the middle, those being like your biggest two songs of the night. Avril Lavigne, I haven't played it in literally probably over 10 years. It took a break from my sets, but I've been playing Skater Boy recently, and it's been going off. So
cool. Well, I think you'll like our show from last week, and I can't
see. I was
wait
about to say, I feel like listening to him, we did good.
Exactly right. I don't think there's. I mentioned you at one point. Well, I said I will accept that. I don't know if Dave will accept that. Is Stacey's mom too pop rock for that era or for that genre?
I mean, I would. I didn't put something like that got that pop on this mix, but I would definitely consider it in the pop punk, in that genre. I mean, I would even consider Lit, My Own Worst Enemy, in that genre. Again, those were songs that got super crossover. I mean, really, the only thing I think sometimes gets mistaken and lumped into this because it was kind of a genre of its own is the Killers. They're the one band that I think, and I even sometimes play them in with pop punk in a set, like at a wedding, because they're the right tempo range. Yeah. But that's the one band that they're kind of like, synth alternative, post new wave, whatever. They're the one band in that era that's like not a pop punk band.
Right.
Especially the new album. The new album is awesome.
I haven't given it a spin. Yeah, I should check it out.
Very good. Definitely different.
I think it's similar to when you play Respect in a Motown, quote unquote, Motown set, because it's technically not a Motown song. It's not. It wasn't on the Motown label, and it's a little bit more R&B soul from that era than dance, but it works. So, are you being exact? Probably not, but it still works,
Yeah, and that's the difference between, like, I would probably play Respect in a Motown set or, at a wedding, but if I was, and same with the Killers with playing them in a pop punk set at a wedding, but I would probably not put Respect, or I definitely would not put Respect on a Motown mix, and that's, I guess, the small nuance there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. All right. So I began by teasing the fact that the ratings were horribly low. They literally lost almost 50% of the audience from last year. And last year wasn't a good year. It's not like last year was the greatest ratings ever. Let's go around the horn. Can you guess at why that might be? And it doesn't have to be one reason. It could be multiple reasons. Anyone have a...
I would say I would venture beyond a guess, but they did, programming wise, as far as like the artists they were putting on, they did a complete 180 from past years. So I mean, if you look at 2020, I mean, they had the Prince tribute, which it wasn't, they had a Prince tribute right the year after he passed away, but they did another Prince tribute, which I know was kind of a setup because they were recording that special last year. They had a Dr. John tribute. They just randomly had, Run DMC and Aerosmith perform Walk This Way. Last year they ended with that I Sing the Body Electric, which I think a lot of people were miffed by. And then like in 2019, they had the Dolly Parton tribute. They had the random Motown tribute that like had J-Lo singing Motown. And my point is, I think they've been really in recent years kind of hugging old music and doing as many tributes as they can to the 80s, 70s, 60s. And then they just went a complete 180. And I mean, this almost felt VMA-esque to me with not only the artist selection, but all the performances and all the lip syncing. And so I liked it. I personally enjoyed the show, but I think the fact that they did a 180 it was almost like they just kind of threw away their existing audience and we're going to try to get a new audience. And I think it's going to be interesting to see next year if they double down on that and go this same direction again, or if they try to switch it back.
Sean, any ideas?
Well, Mike, when you and I were talking, I like the fact that they did it in a smaller audience. They had to do it that way anyway. You didn't have your screaming fans the entire night. And Dave, you hit it right on the money. They went from, classic rock to try and get some of the old stodgy folks, whatever. This year they went completely different. And the memorial thing that they did was great. Bruno was great. Every other singer was great. The only thing that pissed me off was Eddie Van Halen was a innovator, everything else. They gave the man 15 seconds.
Yeah,
I think they should have.
More than that.
He deserved a good 3 minutes, whatever you could put in there. But I think the rest of it was, I mean, the lip syncing part, like poor Dua Lipa, this poor girl, she rocks. She's got some great dance stuff that nobody could dance to because we weren't allowed to dance. So this year, but I think David hit it right on the head. They went completely in your face, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, everything else. And it seems like they just decided that the older folks were just going to take a back seat. And I think that's one of the things that really hurt their audience. But also with everything going on, you've got so many different things to watch now. The Grammys takes a backseat to everything. It used to not be. Now you've got all these Netflix, this, that, the other thing. People are going to why?
Joe?
I can see it on YouTube the next day.
Agreeing with the second thing Sean is saying. Too much media. Nobody gives a shit about CBS. Everything's on Netflix. Everything's on Hulu. Everything is on Showtime. Right. Everything is on HBO. I don't watch one show on that trash network or ABC or NBC. Like, those shows are garbage. They're not real. They don't cuss. They don't have sex. They're just trash. And so I don't even know how I caught that it was coming on. It had to be on social media. It must have popped up. As you know,
I think it was when I texted you and said, "Hey, I forgot the Grammys are on Sunday."
I didn't because I had it. I had hit the record button already on the Spectrum DVR. Like, so I'd known, like, it must have come up on like Complex Music or something, like on that I follow on Instagram. Like, hey, music's biggest night is this weekend, and I was like, oh damn, that's right, the Grammys. Like, but it wasn't 2-3 days before that I actually hit that record button.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even ratings for the Super Bowl have been trending downwards. Now, not a 50% loss like the Grammys, but even something like the Super Bowl, which is the most watched thing on TV every single year, has been trending in the negative. But that was a dramatic. So nobody brought up. I think somebody mentioned Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, but they tease that a lot. And I personally, I have seen more backlash about WAP than any song I have ever, in the history of Facebook, which is a dozen years now.
Sure.
I've never seen a song be subject to so much vitriol. And I wonder how much of that was some viewers, some, conservative, and I don't mean politically, but I just mean, saying, no way, I'm not going to watch that trash. I think that's part of it. I mean, obviously there were a lot of factors involved, but I think the WAP backlash had something to do with it. And then after the performance, the Facebook post made it seem like it was literally porn, and I didn't see it that way. But I have to at least say, well, a lot of people are calling it that.
Wow. This is coming from the guy that on Facebook I saw Sunday night said, "Are they scissoring now?"
I think they literally scissored at one point, and then somebody said, "No, it's called tribbing." I think he said, "Google it." I said, "I'm not googling that. There's no way."
Kelly walks in as you're googling it.
Right, exactly. All right,
Mike texted me during that part. I almost fell off my chair. I go, yeah, we're liking this. So
we're all MCs on this on this show. Let's talk about the MC of the show. Let's talk about Trevor Noah. How did we think he did? How was his performance? Let's start with Sean.
Under the circumstances, I thought the guy did a great job. I like him. I think he did a great job for what he was thrown into. There's a lot of people out there there's a lot of naysayers. Of course there is. Every host is going to get a naysayer here and there and everywhere. But I think the guy, with everything that he was put up against, the small audience and going back and forth between live and recorded, whatever, I thought the guy did a great job. I think the worst part about the Grammys, and Mike and I talked about it a little bit, Billie Eilish ending the show. It was so anticlimactic. But I thought Trevor Noah did a great job. I think they got to hire him back next year. I think he did a great job.
Dave?
I'll be honest, I'm not a Trevor Noah fan. I never have been. I thought when Jon Stewart was on TV, I thought he was one of the funniest people on TV. And when Trevor Noah replaced him, I don't know. And this, to me, I don't watch him much on TV. I gave it a try and I wasn't into him. But to me, I just felt like there were so many jokes that my 76-year-old dad would tell. I was like, this is just not funny. Like, I might have been better if he just tried to avoid the jokes, because you don't even have the audience that's going to give you that chuckle. I mean, I loved LL Cool J as a host back in the day. I was a huge LL Cool J fan. Alicia Keys wasn't my favorite. Some years I really liked her, though. So I don't know. I'd have much rather seen Alicia Keys, I would say, than Trevor Noah. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the worst ever, but I personally wasn't a fan. Didn't do it for me.
Joe?
I just thought he played it safe. It was kind of in the middle. I mean, his writers were pretty, right in the middle. Jokes were a little corny, but his personality's good. I mean, he's good looking. He's charismatic. I mean, I just thought he played it safe right in the middle, so I gave him like a, C, like a middle score.
Yeah, I feel bad for any comedian nowadays trying to tell jokes to an empty room or a dry room, because the laughter that this is one of the reasons why on the old sitcoms they actually pipe in a laugh track, because when you hear people laughing, it makes you laugh. Yeah. I'm reading a book right now about the Marx Brothers, and they literally had their father sitting in the middle of the audience when they performed as the laugh starter. So as soon as the joke fell, he would go, ah, and that made people. So that we've known that in entertainment, and it's hard. I thought he was pretty smooth. You go back and watch that opening. He started in that outdoor where they were going to give the awards, and then he walked to the performance room. Yeah, and never stuttered a word, walked the whole time while talking, and timed it perfectly and got into that room just as he was finishing. That is extremely impressive. So as far as terms of MC, I thought he was pretty smooth and polished. I'll tell you what, the one joke that I thought was great when he was introducing WAP and he said, "Tell your kids it's a song about giving your cat a bath." That's a pretty fucking funny line right there.
I believe he introduced it as WAP.
Oh, did he pronounce it? Wow. Yeah. So let's talk about some of our favorite performances. What did we love? What performances jumped out at us? Sean?
Bruno Mars.
Which one? The Silk?
Yes.
The Silk Sonic, or
the answer to which one is yes.
Oh, both.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Either.
Amazing. His band, backup band, everything else. Good golly, Miss Molly, I'm surprised my neighbors didn't call the cops. I was dancing on the floor. It was amazing. But it's and Joe said it before. He's been going for too long. He needs to come back out and make us happy again, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the world could definitely use some Bruno right now.
Yes,
absolutely.
Well, and my understanding is that whole project with Anderson .Paak is supposed to be an entire album, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is too.
Yes.
Yep, I think you're right.
I'll tell you what. Even though pre-recorded, BSB did a nice job on Dynamite. I thought I liked that song. I get a lot of requests for it at web stuff. But yeah, they did it. It's a hard thing to do with all those people in that.
Well,
band.
and I'll tell you what, I'm going to get back to favorite performances in a second. But the BTS song Dynamite, that was one of the two examples of what I consider to be bad programming. They should have let BTS be the last performance of the night, because after that, they went to the Roddy Ricch performance, which to me was a downer. They should have flipped those two performances and let BTS, because that was a high energy moment. And then Roddy Ricch's performance to me was, and that's Joe, when you were texting me like, this thing isn't over yet. Yeah. And the only reason we're hanging in there at that point is we knew they had record of the year to give out.
That's it.
But I thought that was just a bad, like, if that was a DJ programming that night, we would have gone Roddy Ricch into BTS.
Good point.
Any other performances that stood out?
Well, and Mike, I would even say in terms of that, I would have put BTS. I feel like with as much as they appeal to a younger crowd, I would have put them more toward the beginning of the show.
Sure.
The show. The
Yeah.
show. The show. The
Yeah.
show. The show.
Oh,
The
yeah.
show. The 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 show. The
Whoa.
show.
Am I hearing that? Is he
The
stuck?
show. The 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 show.
Holy moly.
How do we stop that?
He's on like an infinite loop.
Show. 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 Show.
Let me see if I can dump him out of this.
That is good. It is on beat.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You know what?
He's still doing it. Dave, you're gonna have to log off and come back. Wow.
Wow.
You know what's funny now?
Wow.
Dave could make a song out of that.
That was nuts, dude.
Dave could make a song out
Wow.
of that. That was crazy.
I've never seen that before. Not
I thought I was the only one hearing it.
No, I've lost it. I've lost it. I was like, what the hell?
While we get Dave back, Joe, were there any performances that really stood out for you?
Yeah, man. The way the show opened was, to me, incredibly dope. Harry Styles,
the way
dude,
they did
I wanted to hate that kid so bad, dude.
I know you've mentioned that, yeah.
I wanted to hate him so bad, dude. I'm telling you right now, there was nobody cooler on that show. That kid walked out in a leather suit with leather bell bottoms, no shirt, and a fucking green boa, dude.
And a
I was
boa.
like, this
Right.
guy, and every girl in America was literally crying. Like,
Right.
I was absolutely on the floor. Like, I don't know anybody cooler right now than this kid, Harry Styles.
Dave,
and then
were you hearing that on your end? Were you hearing
Dave,
that stutter? Wait till you hear
Oh
it.
my God.
I'm not going to take it out of the playback. Wait till
Leave
you
it in the
hear
playback. It's
Oh, yeah,
epic.
definitely.
And I would, you got caught
Drop a beat.
digitally.
Drop a beat under it in the playback.
I'm telling
That's
you,
what
you
you
can.
said.
It was
It's total
the,
remix.
You were repeating the show, and you were literally on beat. You can make a song out of that.
That could be like an Armand Van Helden record, like when he samples a one lyric over and over again.
Right.
Harry Styles. So that whole opening segment, right? So Billie Eilish is literally beside him, watching him. She's
love that.
jamming. Then she goes, that underwater car, she does her song. He's over there just like still holding his mic, like rocking, still rocking his leather suit, his green boa. Then puts his fingers in the mouth at the end, starts whistling. Then it goes to the Haim sisters. They crush it. And everybody else is watching them, along with the Black Pumas. They really should have gone to them as well instead of going to an ad, I thought, because they literally went boom to boom to boom. And then after that, I mean, Bruno was fine, and there were some other standout kind of ish things. But like, I was like, dude, if this whole show is like this is going to be epic. And of course, it was not. But
No, it took a big dive right after that.
Styles was so freaking cool to
Well,
me.
I mean,
man. I wanted to hate that kid.
I mean, I loved the whole back-to-back, like, I mean, and it was actually crazy because it's super current, you know, dance music, club music, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, when it was like Rockstar into, I think, Dakiti into the Dua Lipa set into Silk Sonic, like all back to back to back. It was,
did do that. Yeah.
It just was like a party. And I was like, this is really dope. I mean, I love Silk Sonic. I love the Dua Lipa, and I love both of their performances. And I just want to give a shout out. I know I mentioned it on Facebook, but Brittany Howard, to me, from Alabama Shakes, is one of the most current, underappreciated singers, artists, musicians. Like, she's amazing. Even when she was on the commercial, I was just like enjoying listening to her on the commercial. It was just, and I don't know, I said the other day on Facebook, I don't know if she doesn't get as much love because she sings this kind of bluegrass, folk, rock meshing of genres that's really not hugely popular at the moment genre wise, and maybe that's why she doesn't get as much kind of love as she should. But I mean, I'm a huge Brittany Howard fan.
Yeah, I love that she sang what's the song called, Walk On, as part of the tribute. And then in the next commercial break,
No, You'll Never Walk Alone.
You'll never walk alone. And then in the next commercial break, Johnny Walker. And how great would it be to have so much money that you don't even need to, you can buy an ad and don't even plug your product. That ad basically was Brittany Howard re-singing the end of that song. And then at the very end, they just put the words Johnny Walker. And I'm like, God damn, I wish I had that much money that I could just throw at an ad.
Blow a Grammy.
Nothing to do. She doesn't even take a drink of Johnny Walker. There's no product mention at all. But good for them. It was a great way to kind of highlight and double back to what an amazing singer she is.